Okay, so this video is going to be about the differences between the thought process of the INTJ and the INTP. So, the INTJ, we will start with them. So their thought process, either intuitively based, they come up with some idea, some issue that they want to solve, pops into their awareness, and that's kind of the foundation or the focal point. From there, they start considering just allowing their minds to kind of perceive what could be, and ideas begin to form in their mind, and they start considering them and their relationship to what they want to understand. So here an idea has popped into this INTJ's mind, who has said, I don't think it's connected. Okay, so then they go about this process and ideas are popping in and out, being considered. That doesn't fit, this one does. Hey, there's some relationship here. I want to explore this one further. So then the INTJ will start considering other ideas and notions that are related to the one that, or I guess to all of the ideas that they're considering. So they start considering related ideas, and the picture just begins to form in this manner that could seem kind of random to the outsider, because in many ways it is. Intuition, it's a focus upon the possibilities, the potentials behind things. So pretty much using intuition, ideas pop in and out of their head. They consider the connections between the ideas and the things that they're trying to understand, and kind of like an image begins to form based on the connections that they perceive. Now, during this process, they also will use their auxiliary function, which is extroverted thinking. Now, with extroverted thinking, that's the function that says, this idea, it's good, but let's try to find, are there any flaws in this logic? Is there anything that we need to maybe remove? So through this process of intuitively coming up with ideas, and then maybe with thinking recognizing when something just doesn't fit and removing it, the INTJ is able to form an image, a concept. They're able to form an understanding of something. So this process, maybe to the outsider, even to the insider, maybe it seems somewhat random, because it sort of is, but at the same time, their auxiliary function is thinking, so they're able to use thinking to kind of shave off some of the things that might not make sense or might not flow and work as a system, while also intuitively discovering what does work as a system. Now, on the other hand, we have the INTP. Now, the INTP's dominant function is introverted thinking. And thinking is concerned with precision and with removing what does not make sense. So often for the INTP, what is interesting to them is kind of like holes and things that just don't add up. So they're often intrigued by something that doesn't seem to fit. So they notice this thing that could not possibly be correct. And then they notice here's this other thing that it also could not be correct. And sort of through the process of eliminating things, they're able to discover, hey, this thing must be true. If these things aren't true, then this one must be. And this is kind of where the intuition of the INTP steps in. So a lot of other TI types, they might not develop as complex of a system as the INTP, because the INTP is also using auxiliary extroverted intuition, which enables them to jump to the next level and say, hey, you know, if all of that is true, this idea kind of will pop into their head. If I can get it to appear. Okay, so maybe intuition might generate an idea or a concept, and then they can think about it and decide, yeah, it makes sense. That seems to work with the structure that I'm forming, and intuition might have helped them make the jump, but once they make the jump, thinking is what is doing the majority of the work in the INTP, because hey, if that's true and that's true and that's not true and that's not true, then this must not be true, and if those things are all that, then this must be true. So pretty much intuition might help them kind of jump up a step, and they form their impressions in this very systematic manner where they're using logic to build up a system and mostly to remove what doesn't make sense. And by removing what does not make sense, what makes sense becomes evident. But when they get stuck, intuition comes into play and helps them kind of jump up to this next level. Hey, what about this idea? Nah, that must not be true. It actually must not be true. Whoops. Nah, that's not true. And if that isn't true, then thinking takes over and says, then this must be true. And this must be true. So pretty much in this very systematic manner, they build up like a system. So, I'm a terrible artist here. Sorry. This is looking so bad and taking so long. Okay, so pretty much bear in mind that I am not an artist, okay? So essentially the two types can come to the same conclusions, but they have done so in a dramatically different process. The INTJ, on the one hand, bounces around considering possibilities, and then they're able to just hold them there, even though they're not connected to anything. There is just this sense of connection, even though there isn't a structure in place, like a logical system backing up this awareness. They have a perception of connection between things, and they're able to just accept that because that's their dominant process, is this interest with possibilities. So they might jump around and perceive the connections between certain concepts, and then the impression will form, and they might use thinking to help eliminate things that couldn't possibly fit into the model, and then they have formed their impression. The INTP, on the other hand, focuses on thinking primarily, so they are focused on eliminating what could not possibly be, and through this process what is left is like the foundation, what must be. If these things aren't true, then this is what remains. This is the idea that has not been able to be taken down. So then for them, extroverted intuition comes up and helps them go to the next level by looking at their internal structure from another perspective. And then once there, they are able to then reduce and eliminate what does not make sense, leaving what does. And that's just how their process works in this very linear, this very logical, structured manner.